is happening, my beautiful people? Now, I really don't know what to title this video because this is sort of going to be a rant, but sort of going to be a hype video, but at the same time just proving haters wrong. So I don't know really what to title this, so whatever it's going to be called, that's the title. But I just want to start off with this. Batman v Superman cannot and will not fail. Now, let me break it down to you before I go into in-depth of breaking down what I think is going to happen in the movie and why. Let me break it down to you. This is a fun fact. DC Comics, alright, makes around $500 million on Batman, alright? It made over $500 million this past year with comic books, merchandising rights that they sell for people to make t-shirts, action figures, toys, Legos, whatever, cars. They make $500 million on a yearly basis just off of Batman. Superman makes $377 million. Alright, averaging that. That's what it made, a little over that too in 2015, just off of comic books, merchandising rights, and all that good and fun stuff. Okay, so you're looking at this. The production budget for BVS, the production budget was $230 million. Plus the marketing campaign, plus the taxes and all that other bullshit, it adds up to around $410 million. They're already made $300 million back just off of selling merchandising rights and licensing rights for the movie itself. Not for just Batman and Superman as characters in comic books, but just for the movie itself. $300 million. They've already made their production budget back out, and even their probably marketing campaign as well. Okay? Shit, it's real. Alright? This shit will not fail. You have to understand, these are the most iconic superhero of all time, and this is the most popular superhero of all time. Going at it. Look, this will not and cannot fail. Alright? DC and Warner Brothers are not even sweating, my boy. Alright? Real shit. But without any further ado, let's get on to the breakdown. Here we go. First and foremost, I want to talk to you guys about this right here. The Watchmen. One of my favorite movies in general. Not just a comic book adaptation, but one of my favorite movies in general. Now, I'm going to be talking about the director's cut a little bit more because obviously that's the best version of it. What Snyder did in that movie, he showed that he can not only direct amazing action sequences, but he showed that he can direct very private, very intimate, very hard to watch moments. When the comedian was going to rape Miss Jupiter, you know, in the flashback scene, that was tough to watch. When the comedian killed that pregnant woman in Vietnam, that was tough to watch. He established a sense of darkness and a sense of real world in the movie. You know, not only did he have to establish characters from the past, present, and what's going to happen in the future, kind of give you a silhouette, without even showing you an entire movie about where these characters come from. Alright, he had to show you their entire origin through the opening credits. Alright, through the opening credits. And on top of that, he built a relationship with them through flashbacks. Alright, the comedian was only in this movie in present time in the very beginning for like the very few first minutes. Afterwards, you only see him in flashbacks, and he's one of the most richest characters in the entire movie. Alright? On top of that, he made sure that every character had their own story arc, had their own development, that you understood every character, that some characters were obviously given more a little bit screen time, like Rorschach, for example, which was great, and he made you understand every motive. He made you understand their point of view. He knew how to direct very, very good emotional scenes and then throw in action sequences in there to keep you entertained and intertwined with the story. He was so rich in his storytelling. It's beyond me that some people say that it's a bad movie. Look, you may not get the movie because the movie's probably not for you, and by no means necessary is this movie for everybody. It's a very dark, it's a long movie. It doesn't drag on, by no means necessary, but it is a long movie. It is a storytelling movie. It's not a superhero action flick. It is a storytelling movie that is focusing on its story more than anything else. It wants you to understand how the world is looking on this, about the Watchmen, how the world is interacting with itself when it's the Cold War, you know, and he made you understand how these vigilantes fit into the big picture. It's not that the world revolves around them. They live in our world that revolves in general. You know, like, that's the best possible I can put it to you. And then, on top of all that, it was one of the best twists in the story from Alan Moore, and the way that Snyder saw that vision and brought it to life is amazing. Like, Snyder's version of Night Owl is Night Owl, in my opinion. That's the way they drew him in before Watchmen after the movie, because it was just amazing how Snyder saw Night Owl. And by the way, if you've seen this movie, you can tell Snyder's a huge Batman fan, but more importantly, you know Snyder can kill a Justice League movie. Alright, because there are 6 characters, 2 hours and 42 minutes cinematic release-wise, that he had to establish not only relations between them, but again, where they came from, where they are, and where they're going. And it's amazing what he did with it. It's one of the best pieces of art you can ever watch. If you've never seen The Watchmen, shame on you, go watch it. Then we have one of my favorite superhero adaptations ever, and one of the best movies out there is, of course, Man of Steel. Now, Man of Steel, to me, is one of the best superhero movies for this following reason. It stays true to the character and tells a very unique origin story. Now, if you read the comic books, for example, like Earth 1, for example, like Geoff Johns' Secret Origin, if you read books like Superman Unchained, you know that Superman is a lot more than just a scout boy. You know, he's more than that. He's more than just a goody two-shoes wearing underpants on top. You know, he's a unique and very deep character, because in the movie Snyder showed that, you know, and there was a lot of inspiration was coming from Earth 1, obviously not the villain, but how Superman saw himself in life, and how he was alone, and how he knew he was going to be misunderstood and denied all his life, and his Earth father, you know, knew for a fact that the world would never truly be ready. Superman Clark, or Cal, whatever, had to watch Jonathan die because he trusted him, and his father was convinced that the world was not ready ever, especially at that specific time. Superman felt our human pain. He felt the feeling of powerlessness. He felt that. He knows how that feels. People tend to forget that, and Snyder did such a beautiful way of showing that. That Superman is a god. Yes, by all means, he is the next Messiah. But he can lead us to greatness because he knows our pain. Because he feels us, he understands us. Alright, and when I say that in the form of a Messiah, true, because when you look at it, he's a god. He can fly, he can lift, you know, an entire skyscraper, he's bulletproof, you know, he doesn't get any diseases, he's a god. You know, and the symbol of hope is going to be what people carry, and in the trailers for Batman vs Superman, you can truly see that. And what I thought was very beautifully done in this movie is what Jor-El told Cal. He said, you were sent to give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. They would rest behind you. They would stumble and they would fall. But in time, they would join you in the sun. And in time, you would help them accomplish wonders. Now, what that says to me personally, I get chills every time I hear that. It says that you were sent to give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. He is a man with unlimited ultimate power. Absolute power. And he does it for good. He uses it for good and doesn't ask anything for in return. He doesn't want followers. He doesn't want people thinking that he's God. He doesn't want money. He doesn't want fame. He simply does it because he feels obligated. That's it. And that would give us as a society an ideal to strive towards. That a man like that can use everything in his power for good. Then, he said that we would rest behind him. He would be our shield, our monument. But we would stumble. We would fall. We would deny him. We would exile him. We would not want him here. But in time, we would join him in the sun. And in time, he would help us as a society accomplish wonders. He would guide us. He would take our hand. Because he is the best of both worlds. He is a god, but he is a god raised in our world. And he saw the darkness of it. He can guide us to absolute greatness. That is the idea of Superman. Yes, hundreds of thousands of people died in Metropolis on the Black Zero event. The Earth's core was shattered. It started to tear from. There have been islands that have been formed, mountains that have been formed that never have existed because of the world engine. Yes, the world has changed. And Superman saved it from total annihilation. If it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be a world to wake up to anymore. Yes, they came here because of him, but they would have destroyed it either way. So the fact that he saved us proves something. You know, when he snapped Zod's neck, and that scream that Cal had, that was a scream not because he killed, but because he killed the last person in the entire world, galaxy, that could ever truly understand him. Ever. And he had to kill him because Zod said that he would never stop killing us. And Superman was okay with sacrificing that for us. He was okay for sacrificing his own understanding from another person who comes from where he comes from so that we could live on. That is the sacrifice that those superheroes make, and that is why I love that movie so much. And then the entire flashback sequences with Jonathan Kent, just how amazing that is, and just those interactions, like the entire movie, the action sequences are astonishing. Matt Zimmer's score is the best score for any superhero movie you will ever hear. Okay, the visuals of Snyder are amazing. The fights are incredible, and I can't say enough how good this movie is. There are very few flaws with the movie, and there are a few. For example, I thought the relation between Clark and Lois went way too quickly. I understood it. I understood why, but it just went way too quickly, in my opinion. Second of all, I didn't like the fact that right after he snaps Zod's neck, it goes into a flashback scene of with his mom on, excuse me, it goes to a scene where he and his mom are at his father's grave, and he has a flashback, or his mom has a flashback to where Jonathan saw who Cal would become eventually. And I thought that, don't get me wrong, that scene was great, but I thought they could have added 3 to 4 minutes of the world reacting to what's been going on in Metropolis, like news anchors talking about it, like, like showing the destruction of Metropolis and then saying, who was Superman, and why is he truly here? Like, I thought that would have been awesome. Then you see him put down that drone and talking to the general. In my opinion, that would be a good way to end the movie, because that way the movie struggled a little bit, because you're like, oh, that destruction and no consequences. Obviously, we're going to get that in Batman vs. Superman. That is great. That is awesome. That is amazing. But this movie could have benefited from those 3 to 4 minutes, in my opinion. But it's a great movie in general. Let's move on. Now, obviously, Batman v Superman has inspiration from the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns book. Obviously, with Batman being older, he's been 20 years in Gotham, with the armored Batman suit and Batman vs. Superman going on. Obviously, not the reasons that they were going on in this book, but them going at it in general. And I can't wait to see what Snyder really brings from this book to life. We've seen quite a few things in the trailers. By the way, we've seen about roughly 6 minutes of footage from the trailers. The movie's 2 hours and 31 minutes, people. Okay, so shut the fuck up. We haven't seen shit. But I'm really interested in what he really brings from this book to the big screen. Obviously, we see the more ruthless Batman. Obviously, we see the armored bat suit and all that. But what will he bring? Carrie Kelly? What kind of sequence are we going to have in a flashback with Jason Todd? Because I know for a fact we're going to have something there. What's going to happen? I can't wait to see that. Like, I just want to see how Snyder's going to direct that, how he's going to bring that to life, because fuck what people say. Snyder can direct a really good emotional private scene, right? Because honestly, and I'm you know what? I'm put this on hold. Even in Man of Steel, there was a moment when Cal was, he was in Antarctica or whatever the fuck he was, and he walks out and he hears Jor-El in the background talking to him, and he just stands and he closes his eyes, and Snyder took a moment. He cut the music, he cut the talking, he took this side shot of Cal breathing it in, just the sun in the background, Cal breathing it in, his cape is, blowing with the wind, and he cuts the music, and Cal sits down, and you hear the music start playing, the Matt Zimmer score starts playing, and you see the ground start shaking, and the air start becoming denser, and then Superman really just shoots out of the freaking ground right into the sky. That is a very personal, private moment that a lot of people overlook. That is a very unique moment in the Superman. That is him breathing it in, breathing the air, soaking the radiation from the sun, really getting a sense of where he is. That is a very private moment. A lot of people really don't see that for some reason. I can talk about The Watchmen all day long, but we don't have time. Back to this. I personally cannot wait to see why Jim Gordon died and how Jim Gordon died, the reason for that, and if Ellen Yindel is actually, or Yindel, whatever you want to call her last name, in the movie, and if she's the commissioner right now. I would love to see if Barbara Gordon is in her version. I can't wait for that stuff. Now, I really hope that relationship between Alfred and Bruce really grows through the movie. Obviously, we know that Alfred is not just, he's not a butler in Batman vs. Superman. He is a combat physician. He was in the Royal Air Force, excuse me. He builds, he builds like planes and all the gadgets that Batman has. He's his partner, you know what I mean? Like, he's his partner. He's not just his butler. And I love that. I like that he's also an influential part of Batman. Like, he can tell him if he doesn't like something. You know, and I can't wait to see that from Alfred. Like, I want Alfred to take a fucking stand in front of Bruce sometimes. You know what I mean? Truly a really stand. I think Jeremy Irons can really bring that to that character. And I can't wait to see how Ben and Irons just really, like, act and feed off each other in the scene. I can't wait, man. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be one of the best interactions on screen ever. All right, like, I can see that from the trailer. The fact that we have that kind of Alfred that's been in the army, that's, you know, been in the Air Force, that's built all of these things, that and now is helping Batman and building all of these things for Batman and helping him, you know, repair all these things when from battle, and that I just can't wait. I'm sorry, like, I'm nerding out, but it's just, to me, it's amazing. Plus, we know for a fact that Batman v Superman / Justice League is going to take heavy inspiration from the Geoff Johns / Jim Lee Justice League Origin, aka Justice League Volume 1 of the New 52. Now, what I think is going to happen is the following. Now, in this book, we saw how Victor Stone was introduced as a high school wide receiver. Now, I think that he's going to be introduced as a college quarterback or college wide receiver for the following reasons. One of the very first scenes that was shot for Batman vs. Superman was shot in the UCLA Stadium, and it was a game between, I believe, Gotham University and Metropolis State University, whatever it was, the two schools, the two colleges. And I think we're going to get an introduction to Victor Stone through that. And I actually think we're going to get a story arc of Victor Stone in the movie. Why would he be cast so early? Why would they say that he is in the movie? He has a little story arc, trust me. I don't think he's going to be turned into Cyborg by no means necessary, but I think he's going to have a story arc that's going to lead into that. But you then never know. He just might turn into Cyborg in the movie. We might even see that. You never know. It's called Dawn of Justice for a reason. Another thing. Aquaman. To me, there is a lot more to it. I think that they're not saying everything. Why would they announce the casting of Jason Momoa? Why would they release a picture of him in full gear? Why would Snyder tweet, "Unite the Seven"? And why the fuck would they build an enormous set in New Mexico while they were shooting Batman v Superman in New Mexico? They built an enormous set and flew Jason Momoa over there with Snyder to shoot for over a week. Something's fishy. They've shot something they're not telling us. And that's great. I don't want to. I want to wait until I see it in the movie. But I think Aquaman's going to play a much bigger role in Batman v Superman that they're leading on to. A lot bigger role. And Snyder's a huge Aquaman fan. Huge Aquaman fan. So I cannot wait to see how he gives that character justice. The Flash. The way that the Flash is going to be introduced is beyond me. Because I don't know what Snyder has envisioned. I know it's going to be something special. I just don't know what exactly has envisioned for the character. I don't think he's going to come in the way he came in this book. You know, him kind of get called up by Hal Jordan and say, "Save us," you know, because Superman's about to kill us, because he's really pissed off, and him kind of interacting with Superman and having a little fight. I don't think that's going to happen in this movie. If anything, Batman will recruit Flash probably in the post-credit scene, if you ask me. But yeah, obviously Hal Jordan is not going to be even in the first Justice League movie. He's going to be in the end of it. Snyder even said that you know, he's a big part of Part 2, but he's not as big part of Part 1. So I can't really wait. Wonder Woman, I don't care how she's introduced. I just know that Gal Gadot is going to steal the freaking show, and that everyone's going to shut the fuck up for fuck's sake. Man, I just can't stress enough how good that's going to be. But also, Darkseid. What people are not talking about is how Ben Affleck's Batman got to that nightmare vision. Is it vision? Or is it a nightmare? Or is it actually from someone else's point of view? Because how does a man who's lived on Earth all his life, find out in his nightmare scene about Apocalypse, the planet Apocalypse, taking over the planet and sucking it in? How did he see parademons? For crying out loud. By the way, in the Comic-Con trailer, I said parademons. People are like, no, man, that's not parademons. And yet, here we are, people are talking about parademons. You know what I mean? Come on, people. By the way, Snyder's vision of parademons, I like that. A lot better than the comic books, in my opinion. Look a lot more realistic. And then on top of that, he saw the Omega sign, which is Darkseid. How does a man who doesn't know shit about that find that out? How does Superman doesn't even know about him? The only person that even has a chance of knowing about it is Diana Prince, but I don't even think she knows about Grail, which is the daughter of Darkseid. So she has no idea about Darkseid. So like how does Ben Affleck's Batman get to that vision? How does he know that? Who shows him that? That's what people are not asking. How does he get to that? How does that come to him? And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Personally, I think that it might be a future sequence that is actually showing like the future. Maybe Diana Prince was shown. It was shown to Diana Prince by someone, and she has to stop this fight. I don't know, people, but it's gonna be hot because I think personally, it was shown to Diana Prince, or it was shown to Diana Prince, and it was like the future, and she has to prevent that. Personally, me, I think because she's obviously stuff with magic, I don't think it's Batman's nightmare. I think it's called the nightmare scene because it's the future and it's a nightmare. That's why. My personal opinion. But that's all the time I got for this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed my analysis / rant, or whatever you want to call this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I really do appreciate that. Make sure to comment in the comment section below so we can talk about this. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Peace out.